Hey guys, this is your host Eric. Today we are going to watch comedy genre movie called Super Cool. Spoilers ahead, turn on your subtitle, I greatly appreciate your support. Enjoy the video. The story is about a high school senior named Neil. He is a creative kid who enjoys drawing and writing comics. He also likes a classmate named Summer, but he's never been brave enough to tell her. She is cool and well-liked. In the first scene, Neil is not any of these things. They are on the way to school. When an armed man kills the bus driver, the students try to hide under their seats, but the armed man looks through them and catches Summer, her friend, and a popular kid named Chad. Summer and Chad try to stop the armed man, but they are scared of the gun and run away. Neil gets up and goes after Summer after he sends her away. His best friend Gilbert has been telling him not to do it since the summer, even though he doesn't know who he is. Neil is adamant that he pushes the dead driver away and lets Gilbert drive. Then he climbs up on top of the bus and jumps on the car of the kidnapper just as the police officer is about to catch the bad guy. Gilbert loses control of the bus and crashes into the car. In shock, everyone stops breathing. That is, until Neil pulls Summer out of the wreck without hurting her. As she asks him about it, we learn that it was all in Neil's head. As usual, he is making a comic book about himself as a good-looking and well-known figure. Neil's younger sister, Jacqueline, is much more well-known than he is. The siblings always have something to fight about, but it's clear that they love each other at school. Summer is passing out invitations to her birthday party, which she is throwing. Neil is upset that he wasn't asked to come. Gilbert tells him that the miracle will happen if he makes a wish at 11:11 p.m. Neil knows he's just joking, so he doesn't take it too seriously. During lunch, Gilbert tells him that he should go talk to Summer. Since he's been in love with Summer since middle school, he wants his best friend to show a little courage. When Neil doesn't want to go to Summer's table, Gilbert pushes him there. Neil is so nervous that he throws up on Summer, ruining any chance he had of going to her. He locks himself in his room later that day and drowns himself. Loathing, that is, until Gilbert walks in and makes him practice a dance routine that they always do in private. After talking to his friend, Neil feels a lot better, but he still doesn't want to go to school tomorrow. They go up to the roof and look at the stars while talking about what happened that day. Jimmy, Neil's neighbor, is worth $1 million and has a lot of women. Every night, he comes home in a different Porsche and with a different girl. The guys are jealous of his life when they see him come home with 3. They talk about how far they would go to get rich, even if it meant getting together. Neil's parents, who live right below the room, hear the crazy conversation and look at each other in horror before going to sleep. Neil doesn't think much of the fact that the time on the watch is exactly 11:11. He wishes he could start over with Summer. The next day, when he wakes up, he puts on a hoodie and heads to school to hide his face from everyone. After the one yesterday, strangely, Gilbert doesn't care about him and just walks away. While talking to him, Neil looks in the mirror and sees that he's changed into a completely different person who is much more attractive than the real him. Along with his voice, his body has also changed. He realizes that his wish has come true in some way, which gives him a second chance to be with Summer. He meets him and talks to him because he is interested in the new handsome guy. Then he meets Gilbert and tells him something that only Neil would know to show that he is who he says he is. At first, Gilbert doesn't believe his friend at home, but by the end of the day, he does. They tell Jacqueline that her appearance has changed in a strange way, but at first she doesn't believe them. Neil shows that he is capable by drawing in his usual style. They give him the name Ace and tell him to enjoy being pretty while he can. After that, Gilbert and Ace take him to a clothing store to find clothes that fit him. When a random guy invites Neil to a party, Neil finds out how much more privilege pretty people get. It turns out to be the fucking Ham Palace, a private party hosted by a rich businesswoman named Victoria. The man promotes the party as a wild orgy, which gets Gilbert excited. Neil's party is on the same night as the event, so he accepts the invitation for Neil. Then, the guys go to a music store where the cool kids at school hang out as Ace Neil talks to Summer, and she invites him to her birthday party. Neil is very happy, even though she doesn't seem very interested in him. Gilbert thinks that Neil will need to hook up with some girls before he can do the same thing with Summer. Also, all of the cool guys have nice cars. If they can get one too, it will definitely make her happy. Jimmy, Neil's next-door neighbor, is the only one who can give them one. The guys go to Jimmy's house and beg him to let them rent out his Porsche. He is a Porsche dealer, which means he has unlimited access to the cars, but he will also charge them a lot of money for them. Jimmy offers them a simpler deal after bragging about how the car attracts women. If they can get him through the security at the Ham Palace, that is. He offers to let them borrow the Porsche, and the guys agree to meet him in the evening. Then, Gilbert tells Neil that he needs to take a Viagra just to be sure. Since this is their first high school party, and Summer will be there to get the pills, it makes sense for them to go. Gilbert calls Jay Sizzle, a friend he met on the internet, and goes to his house. He is a middle-aged man who is married to a Korean woman. In exchange for the pill, he asks the guys for a favor and makes them watch him make out with his wife. After the weird thing happened, the guys said they would never talk about it again. They are waiting for Jimmy in a mart. Jimmy walks in with a gun and a ski mask, which surprises everyone. In the heat of the moment, the guys try to help him, but the owner pulls out a gun and starts shooting at them. The place gets crazy, but the group is able to get away before the police show up. When everything has settled down, Jimmy says that he just did it for fun. Neil thinks that everything that goes wrong is because of Gilbert, so he and Gilbert get into a fight. He also says that Gilbert made him throw up on Summer. The men go in different directions. After the fight, Neil goes to the gas station to buy a pack of chocolates for Summer. Another thief breaks in and takes him as a hostage. In the end, the officer recognizes him as the man who robbed the mart earlier, and he has to run away in a taxi to avoid being caught. Gilbert and Jimmy, on the other hand, go to the fucking ham for them. As they had expected, the place is full of half-naked people dancing, drinking, and doing illegal drugs. Jimmy sees a man walk into the VIP room, and when he sees stacks of cash inside, he decides to check it out. He decides on the spot that he wants to rob it, but the guards catch him before he can get the money. The act also causes trouble between Gilbert and Victoria, who is hosting the party. As a way to make up for ruining her party, she takes Jimmy's Porsche and tells them that if they try to fight back, she will kill them. Neil goes to Summer's party and meets her there. But things don't go as planned because Summer leaves in the middle of the conversation. Chad, the other cool kid, is mad that Neil is trying to get close to Summer. He gives Neil a challenge and says he will get with Summer before. Jimmy refuses to leave his Porsche behind through a sewer somewhere else after being kicked out. They walk into a fenced-in area where their Porsche is waiting. When they go outside, Jimmy sees a snake. He quickly grabs its head to stop it from biting him. Because of the snake, Gilbert gets scared. Then, Victoria V walks into the parking lot and tells them she will kill them. Gilbert hits her over the head with a rod and then runs away. Jimmy tells them on the way back home that today is his 30th birthday and that he lives in his dad's basement. Money and fancy cars are just for show. In reality, he owes a lot of money. The guys go to his room in the basement and play video games until Jimmy's dad comes with a cake. They spend some time together as a group. Then Gilbert thinks of Neil and how important tonight is for him. They hop in the Porsche and drive to Summer's party to show their support. Chad starts a dance-off to show Summer that he's better than Neil and to impress her. Neil is asked to dance after his performance was not very good. At the same time, Gilbert shows up and decides to join him. The guys do the steps to the dance. They've been working on it for a long time and now everyone is impressed by it. Chad is mad that his competitor stole the show. So, when Neil is in the portable toilet, he pushes it into the pool. Everyone laughs at him, so he does the same thing to Chad and his friend in a fit of rage. Summer is very angry with them all. Before she throws them out, the police show up looking for the robber's Porsche. People start to get scared and run off in different directions. Jimmy and Gilbert go into the garage, where they find another push. They get in the car and speed away from the house as the police chase them. When the chase gets tough, Jimmy comes up with a plan quickly. The person they stole from earlier is right next to the road. The car crashes into the shop while the owner is fixing the damage from earlier. Jimmy tells Gilbert he's sorry and shoots him in the thigh. Then he shoots him in the arm. Gilbert is in pain when he winds up, but Jimmy tells him to trust the process. They make the store owner catch the gun and act like he shot them. The man with the Porsche would never rob a store that way, so the police think the scheme is part of a bigger plan. Gilbert and Jimmy go with the paramedics, and the shop owner is taken away to be questioned. Neil and Jacqueline are standing outside of Summer's house. Neil goes back to being himself when the clock again strikes 11:11. Jacqueline doesn't tell him this, and she sends him back to Summer with as much confidence as he has. Neil is doubtful, but he does what he's told. When he finds Summer cleaning the house by herself, he offers to help, but she tells him to leave. Neil gives her the chocolate he bought earlier for her because he knows it's her favorite. While they eat them together, the act makes her feel a little better. She uses his real name. Neil finally realizes that she isn't talking to him just because he's great, but because she's interested in him. After that, they go to Neil's father's restaurant on Streetside to eat. Neil also finds out that Summer has been paying attention to him for a long time and knows that he likes to draw. He is nervous about letting her read the comics he made about her, but Summer seems to like it. We really appreciate you watching. If you enjoy this video, please give it a like. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel with the notification bell because it is really important for us. Thank you.